Well, good morning from Happy Farm Wife. So I'm out in the backyard this morning, and as you can see behind me, it's really cloudy. We've had a really good, nice, slow shower around here, and I'd say that normally that would be awesome. But we've had a lot of rain, and so we could have shared that with somebody who didn't have so much rain. But we're going to take a little garden tour here and let you see what I've got going on back here so far. So I've got some onions growing here. These are my yellow and my white onions. And then right here, I have some more white sweet onions and some reds mixed in throughout here. And I just got volunteer pea plants, and I'm just gonna let them grow. I kept picking them out and they kept coming back, so I think they just wanna live, and I'm gonna let them live. I'll just pick out onions in between them. And over here in these two raised beds, I have plenty of potatoes for Brad and I. These here are white potatoes, and the ones over there are the red Pontiac potatoes. And so I'm gonna check on those red ones today and see if maybe I have one or two, or three or four mess of them that might go good in a thing of green beans for Sunday dinner tomorrow. Over here, I have got a lot of little things in my garden bed. I've got some sage with a stalk of cilantro growing through it. More cilantro. Right here, some little oregano that's not doing so hot, so I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that. And then I've got some basil here, and it's just growing right along. Right here, getting waterlogged, are some little white radishes. You can see them right there. They're beginning to sprout. And then I've got a lot of lettuce right here. Just a lot for Brad and I to just eat on. It'll come in, and it's all different kinds of lettuce. It's like a multi-pack of different kinds of lettuce. So I'll be excited to see what it looks like when it blings on out and does. Right here, I've got our green beans. Brad built me a little box to put up against my cattle panel, my arched trellis here, and that way I can mow in between it, and I can spray around the box if I want to keep the weeds off of it, or I can weed eat it, just whatever. And those will grow up on the trellis there. Hey, Zeuser. And they'll be easy to pick. We're trying to work smarter around here, not harder, so I can't wait for these to be up on the trellis. These beans here got just a little bit of a better start than the ones in the other box, and so they'll be ready to start running here in just a little bit. These are Mountaineer white half runners. It's what my mama always planted, and I didn't plant them the last year or two. I thought I'd go with a stringless bean, and guess what? They didn't grow well, so I went back to these beans, and I'll just be stringing beans. This is my purple hull bed, pink-eyed purple hulls, and they're doing wonderful. They sprouted in no time off of seed that I've had in the freezer for 10 years now. I kid you not. The date on the package was 2014, and so freezing your seeds is not a bad idea. Sometimes it won't come up, but for the most part, hardy beans and things will come up. Now I have some pepper plants here. These are what they call a sweet jalapeno, so I'm interested to see what those do. And then over here, I've got a chili pepper planted. I like a little heat in my pickles, so that'll be good for them once we get to where we can make pickles. And as you can see, we have lots of Romas and lots of San Marzano tomatoes. That is what my preferred tomato is for canning sauces and salsa and things of that nature. My tomato juice, and so we've got plenty for us and my good friend at church that we can together. And so we've got to get those staked, but my goodness, is it wet out here, people. So we'll just have to, be a great time to drive some post, I'm sure. So we'll get those done. Well, we've taken you on the garden tour this morning, Zeus and I. He's my outside dog. He's a pretty good boy. And I have another dog that just kind of showed up here. I think he's been mistreated. He's still got his dew claws. Nobody clipped those on him. And it took me from he showed up in September of last year and wouldn't let me get near him. But he would come around my outside dog. And it took me from September of last year to get him tamed down enough where I can rub on him and love on him. And he's a good dog. And he and Zeus run the roost around here. They let me know when anything is around. So I think that's grand. It's nice to have some outside dogs to do that in these days and times. I'm just sitting out here this morning. Like I said, I can't do too much. I made jellies and jams last night and drinking me some sweet tea this morning. My husband goes out on trips from time to time for work, and some places in this world don't have sweet tea. I just don't understand. He'll come back home, he say, "Oh, please fix me some tea." He said, "They don't know what sweet tea is where I've been." So I fix him some sweet tea. But anyways, so it's a rainy, gloomy day here. It's just kind of misting here right now. And we're not going to be able to do much on the farm. We've got some cattle we need to get sorted out and get them off of a pasture and back out with a big herd. And I've got some heifers I need to sort out so that we can get them to the sale. But other than that, we're not going to do a whole lot. Brad and I cleaned on the house Thursday night, and we kind of got it to a good place where maybe we could just rest today. I mean, that's a new concept, isn't it? And we're getting all this rain. We had a nice slow shower this morning, and well, I love the rain, and I know it's going to stop at some point in time, and we're all going to be complaining and whining because we don't have any rain. But then what's going to happen is, well, what's happening right now is our farmers can't get out and plant, and some of them are having to plant things 2 and 3 times, and that costs a lot of money, y'all. And if they can't get things planted, you know, supply and demand is going to be an issue, and that just makes prices go up. And we're already feeling the burn at the grocery store right now. So, yeah. You might want to buy you some cornmeal and stick it in the freezer while you've got the chance. Corn looks pretty good. It's beans around here and people not being able to get their wheat out of the field. Some of our friends usually bale their wheat, and they weren't able to do that. So now they're having trouble getting it out of the field because it's just too blooming wet around here. So all those things play into what you pay at the grocery for things. You know, people who don't farm don't understand those things. We're not row croppers. We've got cattle, that sort of thing. We don't have row crops. But, you know, I've got enough friends to know, and I've got enough sense to know that if they can't get their crops out of the field and they ruin while they're out there in the field, because eventually these seeds and these seed heads will fall out because they've been on there too long and it's just damaging to them, that the harvest won't be good, the yield won't be good, and that drives up prices. So y'all have to think about those things when you go to the grocery. The grocery store does not supply your meat and your vegetables and the things that you buy there. They are the distributor of those things. Your supplier is your farmer. And if you don't like your farmers or love your farmers or know where your food comes from your farmers, then I don't know what they've been teaching in schools, but that's just the way it works, people. I see these things from time to time where people don't actually know where their food comes from, and that is disturbing. You go to the grocery to get it, but they are a distributor of goods, and you pay them for it, and they profit off of it. Our farmers don't profit that much off of what they do. There's farms going belly up all over this country because of situations like what we've got right now. You can't get into the fields to plant, and you can't get in there to get your harvest out. And so, there's things that you need to think about when you consider what you're paying at the grocery store. It's not necessarily the farmer that's causing you a problem. It's the weather, it's the drought, it's the lack of farmers, it's the, government, it's the actual worth of our dollar right now, which is sitting around 68 cents right now. It's those kinds of things that affect what you pay at the store, the distributor. Let's put this into perspective. If you've got a job that you make $100,000 a year, you're only really making about $68,000 a year because of what the dollar's worth right now. Our country is in such a huge mess. You cannot keep on printing money and it be worth anything and financing wars that are not our business. We got to get back to taking care of our country and doing what we need in this country to take care of people. It's just a sad situation when we can't or won't, or maybe people are just motivated by greed or whatever else to not do those things. Better get off my soapbox about that. But I will say, for those of you who think you can't garden, you can garden on an acre because I've done it. We lived on an acre lot close to town, and we took a rototiller and tilled up a patch of land, just a little spot in the backyard, and we planted green beans and tomatoes and cucumbers and squash. We had all the things that we needed in a garden. My mother showed me how to can, and she showed me how to make tomato juice. I make my pickles, my jams, my jellies. I can can potatoes. I can can meat if I need it. You can do those things on less than an acre. And if you don't have access to a tiller, well, maybe you've got access to 5-gallon buckets, and maybe you've got access to dirt, because that's really probably the easiest way to garden is 5-gallon buckets and some dirt and some seeds. And you can grow some of your food in the backyard. Well, then there's knowing how to cook it. We have become a fast food society. And in becoming a fast food society, people have lost the ability or the know-how or the desire to cook. People have lost the skills of canning, preserving, freezing, processing those things to freeze. People have lost all of that skill set. Now, some of us still have it. I've been fortunate that what I didn't have, I had the grit enough to learn. So, there are people in this world who cannot garden because of their health, a disability, things of that nature. But those are the people that you help. Those are the people that you look out for. Those are the people in your churches that on Sunday you take them a sack full of produce out of your garden and you help them out. You got an extra jar of jelly that you made? See how their face lights up. They're sitting there in a wheelchair or, can't do. Because disability and Social Security for these elderly people, it doesn't pay much, people. And it's hard for some of these elderly people and disabled people to get by. It doesn't cost you anything if you're growing a garden or you've got some backyard chickens to take them a dozen eggs and a sack full of produce extra when you got it. So you can be good. But those of you who are able, y'all need to get gritty. Y'all need to get gritty and get out in the dirt. I have been so dirty this spring. My toes, literally one night when I came in, were absolutely black. It was disgusting. And I had dirt under my fingernails and I'd sweat. Oh, I smelled horrible, I'm sure. Nobody had wanted to be around me. And, but that's just part of it. Do you want to eat? Then don't be afraid to get dirty. It's all right. It's all right to get sweaty. And some of these elderly people or a disabled person or people with some sort of health problem, they may not be able to get out in that garden and pick it. But I bet some of them have shelled beans before. And or snapped beans before. And if you took them a mess of them to let them snap them or shell them, they'd be ecstatic. Because they know how to do that. They just can't get out and tend to a garden or pick a garden. If you say, hey, Miss Smith, Miss Jones, if I bring you a mess of green beans, I don't have time to snap them for you, but would you snap them? Would that help you out? I bet they'd love it. They'd probably absolutely love it. You'd see their little faces light up. If I bring you a mess of squash, can you cut them up? If I bring you some cucumbers and tomatoes, would that help you out? How about some onions? Help those who need help. It's one of the nicest, kindest, most Christian things that you can do is to help those who can't help themselves. And so, that's pretty much all I've got today. I've got cucumbers just growing out there in the garden right now, and those green beans are going to climb that trellis anytime. There's going to be green beans just everywhere, and I'm so excited. I've got to get out there and fertilize them. And when that happens, I'm going to be so busy around here. But you got to stay busy. In a world like what we're living in right now, you got to stay busy to stay on top of things. If you want food on your shelves, don't be complaining about the grocery store prices if you're able-bodied and you can get out and grow it. You can do that in a 5-gallon bucket and some dirt and some grit. Just get them seeds in that soil and get them growing. I mean, we've all got an iPhone or an Android or a computer or something. If you don't know how to do it, there's like a billion homesteading channels on YouTube that'll tell you how to do it. It's really easy. Dig a hole, drop a seed in it, cover it back up. That's how easy it is. So, I want y'all to have a blessed weekend. I don't want y'all worrying about what's going on in this country. I want you to just focus on taking care of your family, your neighbors, your elderly people, your disabled people, those people who can't help themselves that are having trouble right now. Like I said, a Social Security check and a disability check doesn't go very far anymore. Help those who need help and encourage those who can help themselves to do better. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Like, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on the next video.